in the newspapers across the country, there have been a lot of um, stories going on about the Catholic Church, and they talk about um, the sexual abuse of some of the priests and people like that. Now, they say most of it happened around Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. I assume that's where I was growing up in Pittsburgh and lived in Pittsburgh for several years, and they say that they have details, a 900-page report, grand jury report, 900 pages, detailing sex abuse of more than 1,000 children by some 300 Roman Catholic priests over 70 years. So over 70 years, that would be going back to almost a turn in a century, 70 years. And there are a lot of people that supposedly they had sex with children, mainly some of them as young as 7 years old, were sexually abused by people trusted to represent them. A lot of these crimes occurred in the 70s and 80s. But I don't know, I was surprised to start reading a lot of this, and um, um, the people that did it now, some of these priests that did it are dead, because it's going back 70 years. And other people that are still living, in fact, there was a guy on television this morning, and he was all dressed up, coat tied, talking where he was abused as when he was in his, and the question is, now they're talking about suing these people that were abused by a priest 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. They want to sue the person and they want to sue the church. And naturally, like any other case, a car accident or something, there's a 3-year statute of limitations. So unless you bring the case within by 3 years, it's dead. So now they're trying to change the statutes in a lot of these places, especially around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, all around there, to open up, take the bar off. That means they're saying, because now I'm 40 years old and I figured out what happened when I was 14, so that'd be 26 years, and they want to something opening up those statutes that are closed to let me sue, even though it's been 26 years. And naturally, if I'm going to sue the priest, and then in all these cases say I can sue the church, I guess I have to show some negligence or whatever. But with 1,000 cases that they're all open, the Catholic Church will go out of business. Now, I don't know what kind of insurance they have protecting them. But if all these 1,000 children over 70 years can file suits against the priests, and they probably like to sue the priests that are dead because they can't say anything in the trial, but the church is there, and unless the church has some insurance, which I don't know about, and I doubt it, covering all these priests, I think these cases could put the Catholic Church out of business, because there are just too many of them. It goes back too many years, and how you're going to find witnesses and things like that. In the grand jury report that came up with this, they spent 2 years, the grand jury, just gathering information, which they subpoenaed from the 6 dioceses around Pittsburgh. And that would have the names of the people who were there, the priests and things like that, their age, where they are now, are they living or are they dead. But and the church is fighting that. The church is fighting about opening up these statutes of limitations, because I don't know what their insurance is, but I can't see it. I mean, these could be huge, huge verdicts for these little children. And now these little children, like the guy on television this morning, are older, dressed up, suit and tie, and they're in their 40s. And it'll be him versus a priest that's probably dead. And the church will have to defend that priest. And I just think that if they open these statutes that they're talking about, and some of the people were for opening them and some against them, I think the Catholic Church could go out of business like any other business, unless they can show they had insurance covering them all these years going back. I don't know, maybe they did, and then the question is, even if they had insurance, how much are the limits? So this thing is a lot more serious than some people think.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, when I was growing up in Pittsburgh, 10, 12, 13, 14, the Catholic Church, they went around and picked up that group I was with, because generally we were just always killing time, swimming, eating green apples, things like that. And they said that they were going to let us try out for their team at St. Rosalia's football league. Naturally, we were never on a team that had jerseys or anything. You know, we were just sort of going day to day. So they said they were going to let us try out for the team and get on the Catholic team in the Catholic League. And they would give us uniforms, and then jerseys, new jerseys, pants, shoes, and take us to the games in the league when we had the games every week. I wasn't even Catholic, and some of my friends weren't, but they let us get in it and they let us play. So we were real happy about that. And I don't know why they did it, but they did it. And I think, and they took care of us. We went to the games, we had buses, we had uniforms, and we went and played a game every week. And our coach was a guy I remember that played for St. Rosalia Central Catholic, downtown Pittsburgh. And he also went to Notre Dame, and he was a fullback in Notre Dame. So we felt like there's no better coach we can have than that guy. But the reason I was bringing it up, I don't think, and they didn't have to take me in that league, but they did it. And I knew everyone. We had priests a lot that came to the games. I knew all the kids that played with me in the whole area, and I knew if anything was happening to them by the priests, because we jabbed, we talked, I think we would have known about it. Or if the priest tried to do anything sexually with any of these boys, because we were all from 10 to 14. That was the age group, because there was nobody we could play for. There were no teams, football teams in. So we were just tickled to death to us play for St. Rosalia. And then with that real good coach, we got uniforms, which we never had. And I don't think they could have done any more for us. And I think that I have a duty to come forward and bring out this information to the public around the world, because they're giving the Catholic Church yelling, screaming, and the Catholic Church does good things. That's all I know about it.
Right.
And I'm for them. I've always been for them, and I was for them when they let us play on the football team. And I don't think they should put them out of business, which they can do if they open up the statute of limitations and take it all the way back, where they can sue these priests that did these different things. If they did them, I assume they did. I don't know if they did them or not.
That doesn't make the whole Catholic Church
children,
bad.
To these children. And then the second part is they could sue the church, because the church were negligent or whatever by not checking on the priest or knowing about it or something like that. But
right.
I just think today that I have a duty to come forward and the man upstairs and say, that whatever happens, I'm for the Catholic Church. Thank you.